I feel like this is a very good move, by the way. I will praise the Polish president for this. So at first it was supposed to be a regular meeting with Orban. Then it was supposed to be a limited meeting with Viktor Orban. And then the Polish president has just straight up canceled the meeting altogether. And the And the reason behind it is because Viktor Orban, who is a very openly pro-Russian leader, depends on Russian energy, while at the same time very recently asking for more money from the European Union to modernize his military, which begs the question because the European Union is modernizing its militaries and ramping up militarization because of the threat from Russia. But Hungary is a very openly pro-Russia, anti-Ukraine, anti-European Union. So the question, I guess, that comes to mind is, who are they trying to modernize against if they see Russia as such a staunch ally? But that's neither here nor there. Orban has been a very pro-Russian leader. That is the only thing we need to focus on right now. And that is why after Viktor Orban has went to Russia to discuss with Vladimir Putin the state of the war, the dire straits that Hungary has found itself in because of the war, how Ukraine is to blame, Europe is to blame, but not Russia, not the invader. President of Poland, Karol Nawrocki, has made a decision to cancel his meeting with Viktor Orban. That is basically the context of what is happening. That is the context for the cancellation of the meeting. Cancelled meeting. He said so on November 30th. That was the announcement. Nawrocki and Orban were set to meet a day after December the 3rd summit of the Visegrad Group in Hungary, where the presidents of Czechia, Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia will gather. President Karol Nawrocki decided to limit the program of his visit to Hungary exclusively to the summit of the presidents of the Visegrad Group. Marcin Przydacz, head of the International Policy Office of the Polish presidency, posted on X. Europe's security depends on solidarity action, including in the field of energy, Przydacz wrote while referring to Orban's trip to Moscow. And by Europe's security depends on solidarity, it means becoming independent from Russian energy, which interestingly enough, Slovakia is also dependent on it. Both Hungary and Slovakia are very much dependent on Russian energy. The EU is phasing out imports of Russian gas, nuclear energy, and oil. Hungary, which is reliant on Russia for 86% of its oil, according to the Atlantic Council, up from 61% before the full-scale invasion. So they've not decreased their dependency on Russian energy. They have increased it. Has repeatedly protested European policies aimed at ending imports of Russian energy. You know, the thing that directly funds the war against Ukraine. The main thing that funds Russia's war machine. Orban said on November 14 that Hungary would sue the EU over its decision to ban Russian gas imports. Good luck. I would like to see the results of such a lawsuit. It would be very interesting to see. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha praised Nawrocki's move as a good decision, and I agree. It is definitely a good show of solidarity, of unity. It is a very important pivot because before this, Nawrocki has been very focused on fighting European integration, of parodying law injustices, law injustice being the party that has been in charge, a far-right party that has been in charge in Poland till the end of 2023. It is important to note that while Nawrocki has been for a while now on his anti-European Union rhetoric, and this signals that he understands that the actual threat to Poland is not the European Union and integration, but Russia. And there is a very important additional reason why Nawrocki has decided to cancel the meeting with Orban, apart from Orban's own visit to Putin. And that reason is, of course, the current peace proposal that is being pushed against Ukraine. The president of Poland, Nawrocki, as well as the Law and Justice Party, have depended on the United States, depended on NATO, depended on the friendship that Nawrocki thought he had with Donald Trump, his personal relationship with him. He thought that that would be a good guarantor of Poland's security. He has very severely miscalculated in that regard. The current events, the 28-point peace plan, the way the negotiations with Russia, not with Ukraine, are going, the way that the United States have said that it would not directly support NATO states with troops, all of this shows that Poland's security is compromised, if not non-existent. And that means that Nawrocki has to pivot from his policy from before, which was more Eurosceptic, anti-European Union and integration, and has to become much more aggressively anti-Russia. And hence he cancelled the meeting with Orban. You could say that the United States has put Nawrocki in this position through his policy towards Ukraine and more widely towards Europe. It is good to see. It is definitely good to see that as the geopolitical realities change, so do the actions of the president of Poland. It is good to see that he does not just blindly move ahead, just blindly just storm ahead saying, no, Trump is still our best friend, he still will protect us, he still wants what's best. It's good to see such a pivot from Nawrocki. It is definitely something that is good to see. It shows Poland's principled, this is what Andriy Sybiha, Ukraine's foreign minister, is saying. It shows Poland's principled stance and strong sense of solidarity, reaffirming its commitment to European unity and security at a crucial moment, the Ukrainian minister said on X. And I would agree with that. It does show that Nawrocki understands where security priorities lie in this whole situation that is unfolding before our eyes in real time. Radosław Sikorski, Poland's foreign minister and a member of the Civic Coalition Party, the opposing political bloc to Nawrocki, described the rebuff of Orban as interesting in a post on X. A few more months and maybe they'll realize that those who hate the European Union and Ukraine usually love Russian President Vladimir Putin, he wrote. Nawrocki has opposed Ukraine's NATO and EU accession and has repeatedly called on Kyiv to address historical issues between the two countries, including the 1943-45 Volhynia massacres, At the same time, the Polish president has backed continued military assistance for Kiev and repeatedly warned against the Russian threat to Poland and Europe. Prydacz's statement on X also said that President Karol Nawrocki consistently advocates for seeking real ways to end the war in Ukraine caused by the Russian Federation, and the peace plan penned by Russia and pushed by the United States is definitely not that. It is absolutely definitely not that. So I'm definitely glad that he has made this decision. It is very interesting to see that, in a way, the United States, through its current policy, is pushing away even its staunchest and most fanatical of allies.